various locations via the miracle of Skype. It's the 40th anniversary season of the LTN Hour. Let's talk NASCAR with your host, Todd Bailey, co-hosts Brian Schmidt, PJ Noodleman, and producer Dangerous Dan Margetta. Call the show anytime at 414-421-7901. And now, the creator and host of the fastest hour in radio, Todd Bailing.
Hello there. Welcome to the program. Glad you're joining us. Lots going on in the racing world here at the end of June. Todd Bailing in Greendale, Wisconsin, joined by my three partners, beginning with Oostburg, Wisconsin's own Brian Schmidt.
Morning. Yes. It finally didn't rain on a Saturday night, and there was racing all over the state yesterday. So it's kind of cool to do it in the dry once.
PJ Noodleman of Trempealeau, Wisconsin.
Also grateful for some dry weather, too. There were a few rainouts over the weekend, but not nearly as bad as last weekend.
Is the river flooding by you yet?
It is getting high. There are flood warnings out in certain areas, and people who live along the river are awfully close to God these days, praying that it doesn't rain much more.
And our familiar producer, director, and all-around good guy, Dan Margetta, R.I.P. Oh, no, wrong R.I.P. I was supposed to be A.K.A., and I said R.I.P.
I'm here.
You're right. Dan Margetta. Hi, Dan.
Still around, yeah. I did 2 tracks yesterday. It was so nice and didn't rain. I actually got 2 in and ready for Nashville today for the NASCAR side.
Yeah, Nashville. This is, of course, 2 tracks in Nashville. Don't confuse the 2. One of them is the fairgrounds. That's the one that's in the middle of the political upheaval, trying to get it all set to race in the city of Nashville. This is in Lebanon, Tennessee, about a half an hour east of the city. It's the Nashville Super Speedway. It's a 1 1/3 mile, which is roughly the same as Darlington. 300 laps equals 400 miles. My math, it's a good thing other people do my math for me because I'm good at repeating things and not figuring anything out. There's one thing I never did good in. It's listening to my teachers and math. And there you have it.
Just the teachers?
Well,
yeah.
Anyone in any kind of authority whatsoever. It will be on NBC today. Green flag is at 2:53, kind of a late start. It's the good news is that it's in the 80s down there. The bad news is that there's a 60% chance of precipitation. However, as the day goes on, the chance for rain diminishes. So they're hopefully going to get it in today without any problem whatsoever. Denny Hamlin will start from the pole, 160.354 miles per hour. But I want to talk about the New Hampshire race last week. Yes, Christopher Bell won the race. Yes, Brian picked Christopher Bell, which is becoming more common around here. One of us is a shot in the dark will get it. But what I really liked about it was the fact that they ran those rain tires for the first time. There were positives. I wouldn't really call them too many negatives. The racing on those rain tires was so different. They slowed it down because those tires didn't seem like they had a lot of grip going through the turns, especially on a wet racetrack. And at times they were 4 and 5 wide. Then they had these, quote, non-competitive pit stops, which again, I think we're at a work in progress. Let's see how it goes. Why couldn't we have had competitive pit stops, at least after maybe one non-competitive? From then on, go from there. But I don't know what you guys thought of it. I just thought it was outstanding that they decided to run on a wet track.
Well,
I wish. Go ahead, Brian.
Well, the pit stop thing is when you have a pit road that is that wet, you really can't have competitive pit stops because you're going to have guys sliding all over the place. So I'm fine with the non-competitive pit stops, but I wish the teams were allowed to make their choice on when they wanted to switch tires. So, if there's a caution that came out and you wanted to switch tires, let's just have a regular, short track style pit stop where, you can stay out if you want. If you come in, you're going to line up behind the guys that didn't pit and do that type of deal. I don't think there's a world where you can have wet pit road and do Cup style pit stops just because of the movement that those cars have and the amount of sliding around you do. Yes, they do it in IMSA. Yes, they do it in IndyCar. There's a lot less cars and a lot bigger pit road. So that's why they're able to do that. But I wish they would be able to pick the tires when they want, which I think going forward they will, because there was enough complaints and upheaval from around the garage area that these guys, Kyle Larson wanted to go to the slicks. And the other guys, and I think that would have made for a really interesting race. The guys that can really handle the car are going to go out on those slicks and be able to handle the car. The guys that don't have that kind of talent, which we know there's plenty of them in that series as well, would be all over the place, and they'd have to stay on the wets.
And I listened to some of the scanner action, and it wasn't just Kyle Larson that wanted to have that choice, too. There were several other drivers who were hoping to have had that choice. So I think you're right, Brian. I think going forward, hopefully, NASCAR will listen to them and give them a little more leeway on what they want to put on in those conditions. That actually puts a little more strategy back into the race then.
Didn't that just absolutely make for an interesting race, though? Something like we've never seen before. It was the driving style had to change. You had to drive carefully with those tires because really nobody knew what they had. And, I enjoyed the hell out of it. And Christopher Bell is just as good in on those tires as he is on any other tires, I guess. And he is emerging right now. Just absolute talent. And it seems to me that he's the guy no matter where you go, as much as, if not more, than Kyle Larson. Agree?
And it begs the question, what's different now? What was the switch that got flipped for him?
Yeah, no kidding.
Might just be comfort. He's done it so long, and he's finally settled in where he can just concentrate on driving and doing what he does best. I think it takes a little while to just get situated in all the logistic things of being a Cup guy and all the non-racing things that you got to do. And I think he's just comfortable in doing that now, and then he's ready to shine. And it's interesting with Kyle Larson, because remember on the midget side, wasn't Christopher Bell always kind of Kyle Larson?
Yes. How many chili bowls and how many night before, Thanksgiving Turkey Night Grand Prix and a lot of those things.
It's taken a while. He's also gotten a lot more comfortable with a mic in his face than when he first started, too. And he's quite a personality now. And
revealing secrets.
Yeah.
One other thing to think about with these wet tires is, right now we're doing them on tracks that are, a mile or less. How far along are we going to get with these things where all of a sudden maybe someday we can do these on a mile and a half? Or think about Pocono. Pocono has rain all the time. Now it's not your typical super speedway, but it's 2.5 miles around. Are we going to get to a point where you can maybe bolt these on and you could race at Pocono? Yeah, the laps would probably be over a minute long, but Pocono can get pretty drawn out and could be a yawner. And now imagine putting these guys on wet weather tires, fanning out going into turn one there. I think this is just the evolution of it, and I don't think we're done yet. I think there's progressions that are going to be going through this, and I think at some point you might see this being used, everywhere up to a super speedway. Obviously, I don't think you'd ever be able to work. It would work at Daytona or Talladega, but Pocono or Indianapolis, places like that, I think there's a possibility.
Through the rain delay last week, people seemed to stick around to the NASCAR race rather than even watch the IndyCar race. There was 1.9 million viewers for the NASCAR race last week. 1.1, now that was on USA, okay? 1.1 for Formula One, which was on ESPN. And I'll teach you to jump ship and go to Fox. The IndyCar race was put onto CNBC while they waited through the rain delay for the NASCAR race, and CNBC drew a whopping 183,000 viewers for their IndyCar race last week.
Yeah, that wasn't that. That was kind of dirty pool right there, I think. I mean, I think there could have been a better way of doing that, but, it just goes to show the mentality of NBC and why, if I were to rank the sports broadcasts in hierarchy, they'd be at the bottom of my list, just the way they act and the way they operate on some things.
But good thing they don't answer to us. We're glad you tuned in. If you'd like to call the show, you can do so at 414-421-7901. We'll sneak away and be right back.
From racing engines to street engines, long blocks to turnkey packages, or complete custom engines. Just ask and Wagner Automotive can fill your needs. All backed by many years of racing experience. These years of experience have provided reliability and performance that customers need to win races. Wagner's has been building championship winning engines for top teams from NASCAR to short tracks in your backyard. This expertise has carried over to street engines they supply to top custom car builders. The Wagner Company in the heart of Wisconsin is outfitted with the state-of-the-art machinery necessary to design, manufacture, build, and test custom engines and their accessory parts. Dyno services are independently available for anyone needed to test their engine. Wagner's Company can also provide you or your company with production CNC machining or welding services. All your questions and requests are handled personally by Casey Wagner. Just give us a call at 920-394-3557 or visit our website at WagnerAutomotive.com.
Race fans, a reminder, no racing at the Fair Park in Plymouth this Saturday. Enjoy the 4th of July activities, and remember, be safe. The Wall of Fame induction ceremony is set for July 13th with late models, sprints, Grand Nationals, B-Mods, and the Vintage Mods. Help us honor the drivers and those who contributed so much to make racing at the Fair Park in Plymouth a wonderful thing. Then on July 20th, the first night of racing for the High School Racing Association. Also, sprint cars, Grand Nationals, B-Mods, and late models. Opening ceremony at 6. We'll see you there.
The summer heat is on, and PMF Landscape Supply in West Bend has everything you need with fresh mulch arriving daily. From premium hardwood mulch to hemlock and pine bark to EnviroMulch in red, gold, chocolate brown, and black colors. PMF also has a large variety of decorative stone and granite, as well as field stone, topsoil, and compost. For all your landscaping needs, visit PMF Landscape Supply, 5470 River Road in West Bend. Call 262-338-8800 or visit pmflandscape.com. Friends of racing for many years. PMF Landscape Supply in West Bend.
Love it. Embrace it. Right now.
The Dan Patrick Show.
Dan Patrick.
You could go back in history and watch one athlete play.
Well, I'd say Babe Ruth.
Any chance it would be disappointing?
But you're right. If I'm watching a baseball game and he goes 1 for 4 with a home run, I'd be like, yeah, okay, he's good.
Catch up old Curly's fastball.
Yeah.
The Dan Patrick Show.
Dan and the Danettes and you.
Weekday mornings 8 to 11 on the Big 920 and your iHeartRadio app.
And we're back.
Welcome back to the program. I've got a special guest today, Brian, and pretty exciting for us.
Yes, we are joined by Mark James, the voice of the Indianapolis 500 and also the lead anchor on the IndyCar Radio Network. Welcome to the program, Mark.
Well, guys, we're headed back to the historic Milwaukee Mile, and all is right with the racing world, in my opinion. I'm thrilled to death. I've said for the past several years that if I were king for a day, this was one of the venues that I would hope to get back to. Hard to believe we haven't been there since 2015, but I think everything is in place with what's being done and what has been done up to this point. What will be done between now and the race weekend to make this an event that will become a staple on the calendar moving forward. But thank you very much for the invitation. I'm excited to join you.
Yeah, and how cool is it that, you know, over these years, it was one of these things that you thought, wow, we're never going to be back racing at the Milwaukee Mile again, and it kind of looked like it was just put on the back burner, and all the history that we had through all the years of that being the week after, you know, the Indy 500. Now, all of a sudden, it's all just come back again. It's crazy how history repeats itself, isn't it?
Well, I know a lot of people have worked very, very hard to make this happen, including, you know, Penske Entertainment and everyone associated with the Milwaukee Mile and the folks associated with the fair. And let's face it, there aren't too many places that you can go to nowadays that has a history that dates back to the late 1930s and the 40s. And, I mean, some of the all-time greats have won here, legends like the late Pardelli Jones, who we lost recently. I mean, Tony Bettenhausen, Ted Horn, Rex Mays, names from years gone by, and more recently, you know, legends like Tony Kanaan and Sebastian Bourdais and Sam Hornish Jr. and Jimmy Vassar, and the list goes on and on and on. I mean, the Unzers and Boyd and you name it. And, you know, I remember from my time that I spent there when it returned to the then Indy Racing League schedule in 2006, you know, it was pretty regular through 2015, and I was saddened when it went away. Sometimes, you know, the business side of it can be very, very difficult to navigate, but I was among the literally thousands that applauded the announcement that it's coming back. I always enjoyed my trip there. I think Milwaukee is a fabulous city that has a lot to offer, and we're excited to be a part of the return to the Milwaukee Mile with the NTT IndyCar Series.
You know, and I think it's kind of cool too is that you can tell you guys really want to come back here. I mean, you guys are you don't only just cover the races, you're actually race fans too. I mean, you've been a fan for a long time, so you're happy to come back and you realize all the history that was involved here. It was always, first there's Indy, then everybody goes to Milwaukee. Now we're going to do it on Labor Day weekend. But it just seems like as a group, you guys are just really excited to come back here because you appreciate the history of the place.
Yeah, I don't think there's any question. I mean, I liken it to, the Indianapolis Motor Speedway from the standpoint that it's kind of a living history museum. I mean, and as you suggest, I remember days gone by when, back when there were 2 weekends of qualifying for the Indy 500, teams that would get in that first weekend would actually go and test at Milwaukee. Before that second weekend of qualifying, those had already made the show. And then, of course, Milwaukee was the traditional date for years. But I think not only does this date make sense, but let's not discount the efforts of Penske Entertainment and especially Hy-Vee with what they're doing in terms of the sponsorship. I mean, they're an incredible partner for the NTT IndyCar Series, and I think the reason I think we're also optimistic is we see all these parties came together for the revival of the race at Iowa Speedway and the success that we've had with it. And I think you're going to see very, very similar results when we get to Milwaukee.
Hey, Mark, it's kind of cool. I kind of was reading up about you before we had you on this week, and you're the voice of the Indy 500, which apparently was a lifelong dream of yours. Did you really start out calling races into a cassette recorder to kind of get going on this deal?
Well, it was interesting. My elementary school principal told me when I was in sixth grade, when I told him I wanted to be a Major League Baseball player, he told me that he had watched me play softball at recess and I might want to rethink that because I wasn't very good. And so he was a retired colonel from the Marine Corps, so he believed in tough love and brutal honesty. So he actually suggested, because I talked a lot and he knew I loved sports, that I look into a career in journalism or broadcasting. And for whatever the reason, it stuck with me. And, yeah, my parents bought me a realistic cassette recorder. You younger folks will have to Google that to see exactly what that is, which is what we do nowadays. But, yeah, I used to, sit in my parents' living room and turn the sound down on the TV, and I would do baseball games and football games and basketball games and make up mock Indy 500s, and guys in my neighborhood would play drivers that, oddly enough, interesting enough, that I would years later have the opportunity to interview, like the late Al Sr. and Bobby Unser, and the list goes on and on and on. And, I started working for a small market radio station when I was in high school doing sports reports for my high school football and basketball, and transitioned that into a career. And my big break, quite frankly, came when I did my second stint at a radio station in Terre Haute, Indiana, which was owned by the Holman George family at the time. And so it made sense for them, I suppose, to add me to the network, and the late Bob Jenkins and another one of our former anchors, Mike King, and John Royer, who was our affiliate relations director at the time, were very instrumental in me joining the network in 1996. And I said after my first one, that if I never did it again, I would have gotten to do it one more time than a lot of people get to. But for 29 years now, or 28 years now, I've been playing with house money. This is my 9th year as the anchor, and I've enjoyed absolutely every minute of it.
Let's talk a little bit about how competitive the IndyCar Series is this year. I mean, you watch a race, and any one of those 27 cars has a chance to win the race this year. And now you're going to go forward with this new hybrid system that will be going into effect at Mid-Ohio. Let's talk about that a little bit and the competitiveness of the series.
Well, it's going to give them 150 horsepower, more horsepower at their disposal. And what's interesting about it, I mean, we were talking to some of the folks from Honda, and how they're able to engage that has not yet been dialed in yet. It's kind of going to be left up to a driver's preference when they want to engage that additional power in that hybrid system. And they're hoping to be in a scenario where we could shorten cautions up, because if there's enough energy built up, they could actually restart the car on their own and not have to use the starters that they have on the AMR IndyCar safety truck. So that could make some of your caution periods a little shorter. I will say this. I don't know in the history of any form of motorsports there has never been a bigger collaborative effort between competitors. I mean, for those that don't know, the two primary engine manufacturers and suppliers are Honda and Chevrolet. There is a healthy competition between the two of them for the Indy 500 and for the Series Championship every year. But they have been in lockstep with the NTT IndyCar Series in Ilmore in the development of this. And that's a bit of a rarity, quite frankly, in motorsports. But, once the thing is unveiled in earnest, they tested it there at the Milwaukee Mile, but it's unveiled next week at Mid-Ohio. Going to be interesting to see what impact this could have on the championship. I mean, you bring up a great point. I mean, right now it's kind of developed into a 3-horse race, with Scott Dixon and Pillow and Will Power. But there's some guys within striking distance. Joseph Newgarden, of course, is a master of ovals. There are 5 ovals left to decide the championship. But again, the unknown, I think, is just exactly how this hybrid might figure into the championship, which would be a fascinating set of circumstances. I know this. The ones that it goes well for, and the ones that win races will be happy with the change. And if things don't go well for a couple of guys at the top and they ended up falling out of the championship as a result, they'll probably bemoan the fact that this change was made now.
We're talking with Mark James, the voice of the Indianapolis 500. Mark, thanks for joining us. We appreciate it. Mark is as excited as anybody that Indy cars are coming back to Milwaukee, and I hope we all get a chance to meet you.
Well, we look forward to it, guys. And, the thing is, there's going to be so much entertainment there for the fans. There's going to be things to do absolutely free of charge over the course of the weekend. A lot of food vendors, a lot of interactive events, and, of course, plenty of great seats are available at wistatefair.com. And buy your tickets early, buy them often. And, folks, if you see any of us with those IndyCar radio logos walking around the fairgrounds, please stop and say hi. We'd love to meet you. And we are thrilled to death to be returning to the Milwaukee Mile. And anytime you guys want to visit, please feel free to give me a call. Thank you.
Mark James, thanks for being on. We're going to sneak away to a break.
Get ready for the return of IndyCar to the Milwaukee Mile.
The NTT IndyCar Series returns to Milwaukee August 30th through September 1st for the Hy-Vee Milwaukee Mile 250th weekend.
Don't miss the first IndyCar event at the historic 1 Mile Oval since 2015, featuring an NTT IndyCar Series doubleheader with races on both Saturday and Sunday. Check out the free fan fun zone with live music, great food, and family fun all weekend long.
Get your tickets now at wistatefair.com and join us for a Labor Day weekend celebration at the Hy-Vee Milwaukee Mile 250s.
As a growing manufacturing company, we needed security solutions. We chose Bonafide because of the services they offer, pricing, and trusted reputation. But it's their outstanding service and support that convinced us we made the right choice with Bonafide.
When businesses need security, they contact Bonafide Security Solutions. From locks and alarms to safes and surveillance, we do it all. We are Bonafide. We protect what you value. For your free security survey, call us today or visit bonafidesafe.com.
Miller Sales and Service of Random Lake is where to go for a trailer, no matter what you're hauling. Tom and Jerry Miller have been selling trailers from B&B, Trophy, and Bravo for over 50 years. Quality and integrity is what put them on the map on the corner of 57 and K since 1939. Home of the number 89 dirt and asphalt cars of Brad Miller. That's Miller Sales and Service. It's where to go for a trailer, just 20 minutes north of Milwaukee. Call them 920-994-4358.
This is The Herd.
Wow, 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 wow.
With Colin Cowherd.
Yeah. This stuff is so predictable. Everybody's freaking out with Caitlin Clark. Angel Reese is picking on her and hard fouls. Women who have committed flagrant fouls are not all villains. Diana Taurasi had one last year. Is she a villain?
This is The Herd.
Weekdays 3 to 6 on the Big 920 and your iHeartRadio app.
I want to talk just a little bit about some of the things that the dominoes are falling for the silly season. And there's some things we know. It became official this week that Chase Briscoe was announced to the 19 car. We had it last week because we knew it was coming anyway, and it was slipped by Christopher Bell, which was pretty funny at the press conference. I guess you guys knew this already, so here's our new driver. But we're looking at the rest of the dominoes and trying to figure some things out. one of the things that we talked about here when we were discussing this earlier is that there's a sudden emergence of this Herbst character. I don't think. Did we see this coming, that he's being kicked around? He says he's got options in all 3 series, and to me, the guy isn't really done very much. He's won, one race, Dan, right?
Yeah, he won. I was at that race, actually. It was in dominating fashion at Vegas last year. And that's the only win he's got. But he does have significant backing behind him, which is, goes a long way. And
Monster is with him, which, okay, so he's got that in his pocket. They already have this Corey Haim under contract at 23.11, but now Monster and Herbst have kind of edged into the conversation there as being the front runner for taking over a third car at 23.11. In other words, let's take the money before we take the talent, because Haim doesn't have enough money behind him.
Well, but Herbst has proven he can run with them. I mean, he's not setting the world on fire, but he's not doing terrible either in the Xfinity Series. I mean, he's running top.
Not terrible. I get it. Terrible Herbst. Now that's the name. That's where the money comes from. His family owns a string of gas stations in southern Nevada, in and around Vegas. It's called Terrible Herbst. What a perfect name for this guy, Terrible Herbst. But that's not the only name who's getting kicked around right now. We have to think about some things. Daniel Suarez is in his last year of his contract with Trackhouse. Now, we all know that doesn't mean much, because you're going to want to keep Daniel Suarez for many reasons, not the least of which is he's a very marketable young man and a pretty good driver. There's no reason he shouldn't get renewed. So we're going to see Suarez back in that 99 car. Front row, that's the one that gets me. We know some of the names that have been kicked around over there. Christian Eckes, now, since he starts winning races like he did in the Truck Series and stunk up the show, actually, he was so good. His name is on that list now, joining Gregson and Barry. But now we're seeing Sam Mayer's name getting thrown around over there at front row. That's the first time I've seen Sam Mayer's name rumored to be on a list for any car. It's not a surprise. Sam certainly has the talent. He's got a little money behind him. He's young and marketable and a good kid all the way around. By the way, Sam Mayer is going to be in the Franklin 4th of July parade. If any of you are going to be near that, you might say hi to Sam. He'll be there. But then there's other things to consider too. We have Legacy Motorsports. We got Eric Jones is in the last year of his contract. Eric doesn't have money behind him that any of us know about. The Wood brothers, Burton, well, he might have some of Dad's money, but he's in a contract year, and we're seeing Barry's name kicked around and Gregson's name kicked around. I'm not sure that Gregson is going to have as much money from Bass Pro Shops as we thought he did, because they also announced that Briscoe is going to stay with Bass Pro Shops or Bass Pro Shops is going to stay with Briscoe is what it is when he goes to the 19 car. So lots of things up in the area, Dan. More drivers than we have these charters for, the way it seems to me.
More drivers, and there seem to be rides available, which makes it pretty interesting. You mentioned the front row deal. And Sam Mayer, well, that's a Ford team, and Sam drives for Chevy right now, so there's a switch there. You have to somehow, would Ford steal him from Chevy to put him in a front row car? And is a front row car going to be that good of a ride, to entice Sam Mayer away from whatever he's got at Chevy? So that's got to be thoughtful too. And again, the deal isn't done yet. I mean, it's in the background until they get that deal completely satisfied with the charter deal in NASCAR. We're really not going to know how this is going to shake out. And there may be more surprises there, too. We forgot about that Haas team. Remember the Haas factory team? That's out there. We haven't announced the driver yet either. Everybody thought it was going to be Custer, but that's not a given.
It's not, but it's, how about this? It's assumed that he will be in that car, and what they say about assume, I understand. But it's another new driver entering with all these other drivers who have some experience and have a great upside. I mean, Josh Berry, I think there's a wonderful upside there, and there are those that think he's kind of heading for the Wood brothers. At least that's the rumor I saw, Dan. I don't know whose name got kicked around for you, but that's the one I saw. Interesting stuff, and boy, there's more to come too. We'll be back.
As a growing manufacturing company, we needed security solutions. We chose Bonafide because of the services they offer, pricing, and trusted reputation. But it's their outstanding service and support that convinced us we made the right choice with Bonafide.
When businesses need security, they contact Bonafide Security Solutions. From locks and alarms to safes and surveillance, we do it all. We are Bonafide. We protect what you value. For your free security survey, call us today or visit bonafidesafe.com.
The summer heat is on, and PMF Landscape Supply in West Bend has everything you need with fresh mulch arriving daily. From premium hardwood mulch to hemlock and pine bark to EnviroMulch in red, gold, chocolate brown, and black colors. PMF also has a large variety of decorative stone and granite, as well as field stone, topsoil, and compost. For all your landscaping needs, visit PMF Landscape Supply, 5470 River Road in West Bend. Call 262-338-8800. Or visit pmflandscape.com. Friends of racing for many years. PMF Landscape Supply in West Bend.
Race fans, a reminder, no racing at the Fair Park in Plymouth this Saturday. Enjoy the 4th of July activities, and remember, be safe. The Wall of Fame induction ceremony is set for July 13th with late models, sprints, Grand Nationals, B-Mods, and the Vintage Mods. Help us honor the drivers and those who contributed so much to make racing at the Fair Park in Plymouth a wonderful thing. Then on July 20th, the first night of racing for the High School Racing Association. Also, sprint cars, Grand Nationals, B-Mods, and late models. Opening ceremony at 6. We'll see you there.
This is Two Pros and a Cup of Joe.
Yeah, baby.
A stunning development in the world of sports. J.J. Redick is the head coach of the Los Angeles Lakers.
I mean, what's their other option if it's not J.J. Redick? I'm not going to criticize the hire. Who knows? Maybe J.J. Redick could be a really good head coach.
Two Pros, LeVar Arrington, Brady Quinn, and a Cup of Joe, Jonas Knox.
Weekday mornings 5 to 8 a.m. on the Big 920 and your iHeartRadio app.
We know that there's been a lot of upheaval at Richard Childress Racing, and we were almost surprised to see that is where Kyle Busch wanted to go because he thought he could make a difference over there. And last year was his first year there, and they actually did something. They were okay. This year, the wheels have literally fallen off of Richard Childress Racing. It's so bad that you got a driver in Rowdy who gets up in front of cameras and says, yeah, I'd go back to one of my other rides. You know, really? Is that being productive to try and help your team out? So what has happened? Who's the guy in charge? Well, you don't fire the guy whose name is on the door, Childress. No, Andy Petrie was the director of racing over there, and he got, quote, retired this week. It would have been kind of nice if Robbie Reiser was given that option when he got fired from Roush, when Roush was going through basically the same thing. But Andy Petrie retired effective immediately. In other words, see ya. You're out of here. Here's something to grab on your way out the door. They have some issues when the driver is up there bad-mouthing the team. I'm sorry. You're not going to get yourself fired because he's better than any other option that they have, right, Dan?
Or when he gets in an argument with another driver and he says, I suck as bad as you.
Yeah, that's quite an argument you're having there, right?
I mean, if you look at there was a graphic online this week about points from last year to this year, and the 8 car is like the biggest fall off right now. They're 175 points behind where they were a year ago compared to all the other drivers. That's the worst fall off on the field right now. So something's not going right there.
It's terrible, and I feel for Rowdy, but you know, if you've got another year that you're going to sit there, don't waste it by bad-mouthing your team and telling everybody you want to go either back to Hendrick or back to Gibbs, because Gibbs looks like they're going to be good for a while to where they're sitting right now. And the only one if he was thinking of going back or hoping, let's put it that way, hoping that for one reason or another, Rick Hendrick was going to hire him back. Alex Bowman is the underperformer over there. His contract is good through next year, which just happens to be when Rowdy's contract expires. But, there's a lot, I think that Bowman, all it takes is for him to win a race or two, and that's going to change that whole narrative over there.
But the whole reason why Kyle Rowdy would even say anything is we live in the world where you float these balloons out there just to see what happens. That's the whole reason he said it.
No kidding. And saw the video.
Andy Petrie with Keith Rodden, right, who spent a lot of time at Hendrick. I think he was a big...
Oh, that's right. And that's who the new director or president or whatever they call him of competition at RCR is. Good point. But boy, oh boy, you don't like to see Rowdy career take a turn like this. When he won those races last year, those are the biggest cheers the guy ever got because he was just one of the drivers defecated on by Gibbs over the last few years. And, to come back and be successful made him as popular as he has ever been in the sport. Unfortunately, now he's fallen into a rut, and it's going to be hard.
One of his biggest knocks, though, has been these new cars, too. He doesn't like these new cars. He doesn't know how to drive these new cars. He struggles so badly with these new cars. And when, in your mind, you hate that car, are you actually ever going to get good in it? That's a big problem that I think he needs to overcome. All right, these are the cars you got. If you want to run the Cup Series, you got to work to try to figure these things out. And all you ever hear is him complaining about these new cars. And I don't know. RCR is going to have to sit down and say, hey, somehow we got to figure this out. We got to figure out what you got to do. You got to figure out how to get these cars good because otherwise it doesn't matter who he drives for. He's going to struggle in those cars.
And Kyle kind of needs to go back to his roots, too, because he's become so successful, even though he's floundering right now, but he's become so successful that he's kind of used to getting what he wants when he wants it. And you do have to put in the work at this point to try to get comfortable with the cars. Like you said, Brian, mindset is a huge piece of that puzzle.
The bar is set pretty high for a guy that has 2 championships and came over there to turn the program around. It doesn't seem to me like adding a third charter is going to help their whole situation over there. And they're one of them that looks like they're going to fight over the 2 charters that are still available.
I think it depends who it is, though, too, because right now there's nobody in there, kind of putting Kyle to the, his nose to the grindstone. It's Austin Dillon, and he doesn't. I don't know. I think he's just taking up space. So if you were to bring somebody in there who's good with these cars and could help him with them and get them,
motivated.
In the right direction, maybe would help.
Kyle Busch has got amazing talent. I mean, I ticked off Kyle Busch. I'd take him any day because he can drive whatever he wants and go where he can. He's kind of like Kyle Larson. They got the same kind of style, right? Whatever they get in, they can make win. How come they can adapt the cars to Kyle Larson and they can't do it to Kyle Busch?
I think there's a little more motivation at Hendrick, though, too. Kyle knows that there's 3 other good drivers there, maybe 2.5. that are going to get it figured out and are going to win. And if you don't figure it out, you're going to be passed by. At Childress, they're just so happy he's there. It just, they aren't, the motivation isn't there. And there's a reason why Hendrick is where they are and Childress is where they are. I just think if you could get somebody over there and maybe not even a driver, just some decent folks around him to say, we got to figure this out and you're going to figure out how this works. And if you don't, then you're not going to be driving in the Cup Series anymore.
It is very entertaining watching Rowdy when he's frustrated. He says and does things that really set him apart from other drivers. I think of just driving through the back gate at Slinger because he had a lousy run in the Nationals and said, you know what? I don't care if this gate is closed. Boom! It's rented. It's a rent-a-car. What do I care?
But it's that attitude that can bite him as well, So, while it's fun to watch, it could also be his own demise.
Yeah, but, he's dealt with it for how long? Of course, he hasn't been this frustrated in a while, Pete. And
But there's so many other drivers coming up, though, too. So it's like, who wants to put up with all of his temper tantrums when there's somebody coming through the gate that will probably take less money and is more prone to try to make something work figure it out.
True. He is one. I still think he is as talented a driver as we have in this sport.
No argument.
And we have that to consider.
Maybe he needs a crew chief to challenge him.
Yes.
There you
go. That doesn't just say okay, but actually,
yeah. Now get out there. Give me 2 more tenths. We're glad you're tuned in to LTN. We'll return right after these.
Get ready for the return of IndyCar to the Milwaukee Mile.
The NTT IndyCar Series returns to Milwaukee August 30th through September 1st for the Hy-Vee Milwaukee Mile 250s weekend.
Don't miss the first IndyCar event at the historic 1 Mile Oval since 2015, featuring an NTT IndyCar Series doubleheader with races on both Saturday and Sunday. Check out the free fan fun zone with live music, great food, and family fun all weekend long.
Get your tickets now at wistatefair.com and join us for a Labor Day weekend celebration at the Hy-Vee Milwaukee Mile 250s.
Miller Sales and Service of Random Lake is where to go for a trailer, no matter what you're hauling. Tom and Jerry Miller have been selling trailers from B&B, Trophy, and Bravo for over 50 years. Quality and integrity is what put them on the map on the corner of 57 and K since 1939. Home of the number 89 dirt and asphalt cars of Brad Miller. That's Miller Sales and Service. It's where to go for a trailer, just 20 minutes north of Milwaukee. Call them 920-994-4358.
The summer heat is on, and PMF Landscape Supply in West Bend has everything you need with fresh mulch arriving daily. From premium hardwood mulch to hemlock and pine bark to EnviroMulch in red, gold, chocolate brown, and black colors. PMF also has a large variety of decorative stone and granite, as well as field stone, topsoil, and compost. For all your landscaping needs, visit PMF Landscape Supply, 5470 River Road in West Bend. Call 262-338-8800 or visit pmflandscape.com. Friends of racing for many years. PMF Landscape Supply in West Bend.
How you doing out there? Summerfest 2024. 9 days of live music featuring over 600 artists. Get the latest lineups, food and beverage experiences, and more at summerfest.com.
LTN Hour presents Dirt on the Dirt with Brian Schmidt.
Another busy week of dirt track racing across the country. We will start Monday in Independence, Iowa. The World of Outlaw Case Construction Late Model Series was there, and Bobby Pierce continued his charge up the point standings in that series with the victory. The IMCA Modifieds are also there. Tom Berry Jr. grabbed that win. Tuesday night over at Beaver Dam, the IMCA Modified, Skylar Woods was your winner. Stock cars went to Jeff Steenbergen. Up in Eagle River, the IMCA stock cars were the headliners. Travis Welsh was your winner. And the limited late models went to Jesse Aho. That is his real name.
Come on.
Yes.
Come on.
Yes.
An announcer's dream.
Webster City, Iowa on Tuesday night. The Hamilton County Speedway for the World of Outlaw Case Construction late models. Bobby Pierce once again continued his dominance, picking up a win on Tuesday night there. Wednesday night, Eldon, Missouri, the Lake of the Ozarks Speedway for the High Limit Sprint Car Series. Corey Day charged from the back of the pack to the win in very impressive fashion. Anybody that saw that race, that is a star in the making right there. Corey Day, remember that name as you go along for sprint car racing. Thursday night, Ashland, Wisconsin, the Wissota Modifieds, Jody Belfoulier was your winner. Also Thursday, Macon Belfoulier, yes. Macon, Illinois, Thursday night, the UMP Summer Nationals Herald and Review 100 for the UMP late models. Jason Fager grabbed the win in that one. Also Friday night, Macon again, the USAC Amsoil National Sprint Cars were there. Mitchell Moles was your winner. Farmer City, Illinois, Friday night for the UMP Summer Nationals. Garrett Alberson grabbed his first Summer Nationals victory. Winning that one. Wheatland, Missouri, Lucas Oil Speedway for the High Limit Sprint Car Series. Tyler Courtney was your winner. If you mentioned, I didn't mention anything in the state of Wisconsin on Friday, that's because it rained here again, like it does every other day, it seems. But it did not rain on Saturday, and we have a full list of Saturday results from across the state. We'll start at Plymouth. $2,500 to win for the late models. Taylor Scheffler was your winner. The MSA 360 Sprints went to Robbie Pribnow, and the Grand Nationals was Dustin Weiss. Dan, you were there at Plymouth last night. Pretty good show.
Pretty good show, yeah. Pretty good crowd, too. Finally got the cars back on the track. Taylor Scheffler was on the pole and had the bottom locked down, and they couldn't get around him. Mitch McGrath kind of challenged a little bit. Brad Miller was third. He took a shot on the high side on one of the late restarts and maybe had a shot, but then kind of got roadblocked his way back to third. So no catching Taylor Scheffler.
So it's nice to see racing back at Plymouth. I believe that's only the second time in the month of June they were able to race here, and we're at the end of June. Francis Crick last night, the 141 Speedway in the IMCA Modifieds. It was Cole Sarneski. IMCA stock cars went to Luke Lemons, and in the Grand Nationals, our good friend of mine, Josh Pierce, won. He started 22nd and drove through the pack to win that Grand National feature. You do not see that every day in the Grand National division. Shawano last night in the late models. Troy Springborn was your winner. The modifieds, Jordan Bartz. Stock cars was Travis Van Stratton. Superior, Gondik Law Speedway. The Great Lakes Border Battle for the Wissota late models went to Shane Sobrowski. Rice Lake, Wissota modifieds, Austin Ellis. I was at Beaver Dam last night. My wife and daughter were both there as part of a cancer raising money for the cancers. Pink Heels, Sheboygan County was there. There's a couple people, Stacy Hoft, who is one of the big supporters of the IRA. She's battling terrible cancer. Also, Gracie Cleveland, who's a good worker with the IRA. She's also battling terrible cancer. So we're all there trying to help them out, raise some money. Pretty good show last night in the IRA sprint cars. Max Guilford picked up his first ever feature win with that series. He's from Auckland, New Zealand, actually, running the tour here. So it's cool to see him get that win. IRA wingless sprints went to Zach Radart, and the Badger midgets went to Brandon Welty. A lot of passing in the Badger midgets. Welty started 8th. Todd Kluver started way at the back of the pack because he had an issue in this heat race. Went through the B main, ran all the way up to 5th. So a good show out there at Beaver Dam last night. New Richmond, Wisconsin, Cedar Lake Speedway, the World of Outlaw NOS Energy Drink Sprint Car Series was there. Logan Schuhart ended a long drought, picking up his first feature win in some time. Macon, Illinois, night number 2 for the USAC Amsoil National Sprint Cars. And Logan Seavey was your winner in that. Highland, Illinois, the UMP Summer Nationals. Jason Fager, 2 in a row for him. Ada, Minnesota, the Norman County Raceway for the World of Outlaw Case Construction late models, $15,000 to win. Nick Hoffman. And the big money race of the weekend was in Bulls Gap, Tennessee. The Volunteer Speedway, $50,000 to win in the unsanctioned super late model race. And the old man, Mac Daddy, Dale McDowell, grabbed the money there last night. That is everything for this week.
On the pavement side of things, we'll start with Thursday night at Kaukauna, Wisconsin International Raceway. Brazen Bennett was the late model winner. Maxwell Schultz was the super late winner. State Park Speedway had their Flip Merwin Memorial. Super late model winner was Brock Heinrich. That was a Toby car, just FYI. Friday night, we had, they got rained out. So Five Flag Speedway down in Pensacola. The Southern Super Series was running, and Bubba Pollard was your winner there. That was because Kevin Harvick and Chase Elliott were also in the field that evening. Mm-hmm. Last night, La Crosse Speedway ran. Jacob Gady, fast time, and the feature win. He's on a rail there. Marshfield Speedway had the CWRA's double features. Corey Jankowski won feature number 1. Mark Mackesy, feature number 2. In the super lates at Marshfield, it was Jevin Goralski. And Jefferson Speedway, late model action, Michael Grunenberg was the winner there. Dells Raceway Park last night, Brad Worthen picked up the 602 feature win. Gabe Summers getting back into victory lane for the super late models with that Alive for 5 series. The Arca Menard series also ran last night at Berlin Speedway. William Sawalich was the winner. Late models up there. Andrew Scheid was that winner. And then last Sunday at Slinger, the All-Star Series made a stop there. And late models, Ryan Gutnick was your winner. And, of course, Todd, back in action again tonight at Slinger.
Yeah, with super lates are back at Slinger Speedway tonight. And this is the last super late show before the Slinger National. So what you'll have is guys that don't really race there all the time, and we maybe get a chance to see them in action with the regulars. We've known for a while that Rich Bickle is this is his coming out of retirement 2 tour, and he's supposed to be there tonight unless his hauler breaks down in Illinois again. But Dan, you told me here, I was a little surprised. Got a couple other names that are going to show up. One, a national name.
Yeah, there were some that were scheduled on to be there. Derek Thorne is one of them in Paulie Schaefer's 7 car, and Derek Krause were supposed to come to run the night. Now whether they're in the pits or not, I don't know for sure until I get there. But they're was on their schedule to be there tonight. So look for maybe Derek Thorne and Derek Krause to show up as well.
I don't know about you guys, but I'm wondering what did the kid drink that turned him into a race car driver so dramatically over last year. Max Kaler, this kid out of Illinois, who doesn't have a racetrack in Rockford to race at anymore, so we're seeing him more and more in Wisconsin. He's a regular at Slinger. He ran in the race last night at the Dells at a Live for 5 race, and apparently put on quite a show at the end of the thing, just to end up second. But he's been consistently running up front at Slinger, and he's one of the Kawicki candidates. It's the second time he's been in the program. The last time he didn't do that much, but boy, oh boy, did he get good. Don't forget, as our old friend Ed Kaluka would remind everyone, tonight at Slinger Speedway, we've got fireworks! So make sure you're there for the fire. And throw a sweatshirt in. It's going to be absolutely perfect weather at Slinger. You're not going to sweat. You're not going to freeze. It's going to be a great show with some great drivers and fireworks. And, gosh, it'll be great to have you at Slinger.
Tell me, Derek Thorne is in the pits, so he's there.
He's there. Outstanding. We'll be right back.
From racing engines to street engines, long blocks to turnkey packages, or complete custom engines, just ask and Wagner Automotive can fill your needs. All backed by many years of racing experience. These years of experience have provided reliability and performance that customers need to win races. Wagner's has been building championship-winning engines for top teams from NASCAR to short tracks in your backyard. This expertise has carried over to street engines they supply to top custom car builders. The Wagner Company, in the heart of Wisconsin, is outfitted with the state-of-the-art machinery necessary to design, manufacture, build, and test custom engines and their accessory parts. Dyno services are independently available for anyone needed to test their engine. Wagner's Company can also provide you or your company with production CNC machining or welding services. All your questions and requests are handled personally by Casey Wagner. Just give us a call at 920-394-3557 or visit our website at WagnerAutomotive.com.
Race fans, a reminder, no racing at the Fair Park in Plymouth this Saturday. Enjoy the 4th of July activities, and remember, be safe. The Wall of Fame induction ceremony is set for July 13th with late models, sprints, Grand Nationals, B-Mods, and the Vintage Mods. Help us honor the drivers and those who contributed so much to make racing at the Fair Park in Plymouth a wonderful thing. Then on July 20th, the first night of racing for the High School Racing Association. Also, sprint cars, Grand Nationals, B-Mods, and late models. Opening ceremony at 6. We'll see you there.
Love it. Embrace it. Right now. The Dan Patrick Show.
Dan Patrick.
That job is sort of the Cowboys' job of the NBA. Everything is under the microscope. Everything. And you got LeBron in there as well. So JJ has to be able to filter out all of the naysayers, the criticism. There's going to be so much gossip here.
The Dan Patrick Show.
Dan and the Danettes and you.
Weekday mornings, 8 to 11 on the Big 920 and your iHeartRadio app.
The Wisconsin Short Track Hall of Fame. Notice how I leave Southeast out of there because we're finally getting to the point where it's moving around and including all the great short track racers in the state of Wisconsin. Their list of nominees came out. We already know that Matt Kenseth is going to be inducted this fall. It's usually the first Saturday night in November, but they gave us a list of 10 names that voting starts, I don't know, tomorrow maybe. Check it out. Look, you can find it on different sites on Facebook, but look up Southeastern Wisconsin Short Track Hall of Fame and you'll find it. The 10 nominees that are out there, and they're going to pick 4 off of the list. Joe, and this is alphabetical order, Joe Buke. I'm sorry, I don't know who he is or how to pronounce his name, and I apologize for that.
Racing scoring.
Yeah, Joe Buke, maybe. Let's call him Buke. Jimmy Fennig, Scott Hansen, Nathan Hosley, Pat Moore, Jim Pitson, Pat Schauer, Donnie Scheffler, Andy Wendt, and Jim Zadroik. Now, if you're like me, you think, why? I'm almost, surprised that a couple of these guys aren't already in the Hall of Fame. Like Pat Schauer, for instance. I can't believe he wasn't in up to this point. But this is your chance to vote and put 4 of those names up into the Hall of Fame. Some very worthwhile, worthy, that's the word I was looking for, some very worthy names on that list. And I would encourage people to vote. A couple of news items out there. They had a tire test at Watkins Glen for both Cup and Xfinity cars. There are 6 cars, 3 from the Xfinity Series, 3 from the Cup Series. They tried 6 different compounds, and 3 cars wrecked Well, that couldn't have gone all that well. Reddick, Suarez, and Jesse Love all wrecked their cars while testing. That can't possibly be good. Also, John Force. Did you see the wreck that John Force was in this week?
That was wicked.
A 75-year-old guy he was going 300 miles an hour when the engine blew, and scrubbed some speed off when he hit the right side wall, but then crossed over and smacked that left side wall. He had to be going well over 200 by the time he hit that inside wall. He's in neuro-intensive care right now. Apparently he had already announced this was going to be his last year racing. This is not the way he wanted to go out, obviously, but this is terrible news for any of us that are John Force fans to see it end like this. I don't know the name Lizzie Musey. Apparently, she's the girlfriend of Jeffrey Earnhardt, which I saw in a couple stories, but I don't even know that that's the fact. But she died this week at the age of 33 of breast cancer. Good God.
Yeah, she was on that Street Outlaws TV show. Among other things, that's probably the most known for. And she had that over like a year ago. She's in battle on that.
Also, Tony Stewart and Leah Pruitt announced this week, not only is she pregnant, it's a boy. Congratulations to the Stewarts. That was the whole thing behind her getting out of the car this year and letting him drive it so she could concentrate on all this health problems and whatnot. It would keep our fingers crossed. It all seems to be going the right direction and nice going. And what a fight we had over at Joe Gibbs. They might pray a lot over there, but apparently their meetings are really interesting. Eric Almirola and Bubba Wallace got into a fight, and it cost Almirola one of the scheduled dates in the car. I think he's going to be back yet. He didn't get fired completely.
Gets back in Indy. He gets us suspended. He got suspended till Indy.
Yeah, suspended. But you know what? I don't get. I'm just going to quick throw this in there because I know we're running short on time.
Yeah.
I know that they leave all decisions to Joe, but this is not consistency here because you remember when Bubba shoved Kyle Larson? It was a lot more violent than what Eric did to Bubba. When Bubba shoved Kyle Larson, he was running at him when he did it and pile drove Kyle Larson into his car. But no suspension happened there.
St. Bubba.
And we don't really, I mean, that was on TV. We all saw it. I don't think anybody really saw what happened in the competition. I mean, this fight apparently occurred during
I saw a video.
There was a rumor. Well, you saw the video of them on pit road, but not the meeting. The rumor was that Bubba said something to our favorite Cuban about how he needs to pick it up. Because I wish I had the right exact words he said, but I think that Almirola started it, and I'm sorry, the other way around. Bubba started it by saying you need to be better or something.
Right, secondary action gets you suspended.
There you go. Hey, don't forget Racing Nuggets. That's PJ's program. You can get on social media. Where do you get it exactly?
You can get it anywhere you download your podcast. You can watch it on YouTube. Levon Vandergeest is the current guest down there, but on Tuesday, Luke Fenhouse will be joining us.
Ooh, good stuff. All right, Brian, you got it right last week. We're going to let you take first pick this week as we get our picks for today's race.
Kyle Larson in the 5.
Interesting. All right. Let's go to Dan.
I'm going to go with Denny Hamlin from the pole.
Okay. PJ?
Keselowski.
Really? I'm going to pull one out of my magic carpet ride. I'm going to take Suarez today. He's got the sponsor's car. It's pink.
Whoa.
Next week, we'll be talking to you from downtown Chicago, right, Brian?
Yes, we are going to the Great Circus, and we'll see how it goes this year. Hopefully no rain.
No rain. There you go. That's great. Well, thanks to everybody for tuning in. And as you know, we have some words we want you to remember no matter what. Real race cars have doors, even if they do climb in through the windows. Let's Talk NASCAR is produced and directed by Dangerous Dan Margetta, our awesome engineer and designer of all things Things logo is Matt Losey. For all of us involved with the program, we do appreciate the fact that you tune in every Sunday morning. And we'll see you tonight at Slinger Speedway.
This program has come to you live from multiple locations via Skype. Any and all comments expressed on this show do not necessarily express the opinions of this station, its employees, or advertisers. Your comments are always welcome at mail@ltnradionetwork.com. Find us at facebook.com/LTN Radio Network. And thank you for your support since 1985. Tune in again next Sunday morning at 10 a.m. Central Time for the LTN Hour on the LTN Radio Network.